the types of nutrition that bacteria will use to sustain themselves. So can anyone remember the definition of nutrition way back when we did digestive system? So what is nutrition?
An organism's way of getting food.
So yeah, so the way it obtains and the way it uses its food. Lads, there's loads of 60-year men with ponytails. It's actually quite phenomenal today. I must have seen, I would say, 8. I'm just looking at them as they pass me by. My son has ridiculous long hair now and he won't let me tie it up. He looks like, do you remember the Doll's World? The ladies in the audience will know this. The Doll's World, you used to get the head with the hair and you just do it all up. I want to play with his hair, but he won't let me. It's so good. But anyway. Okay, so that's nutrition, and then we're going to talk about different types of bacteria now in terms of their modes of nutrition. So chemosynthetic is going to be one, and then we're going to have a word that's going to describe decomposers and what they do. But before we do that, we have autotroph and heterotroph reminder. So hoping you know that autotrophs make their own food and heterotrophs they can't make it, they have to eat another organism to get it. Now I've tried to match this next bit to your little table, so we only have the 2 little tables and the very top of page 239 to get through, and then you shall be free. So do you have the titles in the table, or did I leave them blank for you?
Do they have the titles?
You have the titles. So photosynthetic, you should be able to say now, if I asked you what are photosynthetic bacteria, how do they get their food, or how do they make it? What do they use to do it? What would you say?
Light.
Yeah, so that is a dead easy one. They're using the energy from light to make their food. They obviously have chlorophyll on their membranes in their cells, so it's kind of like the mesosome when we do the diagram. And again, this is further evidence of the fact that one bacteria ingested another bacteria once upon a time, and the ingested bacteria became chloroplasts. And an example is this purple sulfur bacteria that you see. It's kind of more pink than purple, but that lives in water and it will use the light energy to make its food. So that's the photosynthetic. Chemosynthetic, what are they using to make food? So there's a very logical thing to say from the name, but it's not quite true.
Chemicals.
So it is kind of chemicals. They're using the energy from chemical reactions. So my logical brain would have said that too, but these guys actually use the energy from chemical reactions to make their food. So we will see this when we do ecology. We do the nitrogen cycle in Form 6. So we'll see this again. But this is the roots of clover, and these little things here, these nodules, have bacteria in them. And they convert nitrogen to nitrate, but you can also have nitrifying bacteria. And when they do the conversion of ammonia to nitrates, they will make energy that the organism will use to make its food. So as we've done respiration, it has a pathway that generates ATP. And that ATP then will be used to make its food. So if you get to go and lie in the garden now today, pull up a little bit of clover and you will actually see these little root nodules on them. And there's little bacteria in there doing chemosynthesis. So there are the 2 examples of autotrophic bacteria. one using light and one using energy. So the parasitic one, you'll probably be okay at figuring out what they're doing. But has anyone ever heard of the word saprophyte or saprophytic? Is that a new word? Okay, I'm going off. Rachel, you happy? Okay, so the next one is the heterotrophic, so they have to eat other organisms. So saprophytes, they will actually eat dead organic matter. So they are decomposers in normal person speak, but in Leaving Cert Biology now we refer to them as saprophytes. So in your soil, if you were to kill someone and bury them under mud, they will decompose for you, and it's the bacteria and fungus in there that act as saprophytes, and they will break it down for you. So the other version of heterotrophic nutrition in bacteria is parasitic. So kind of parasites, if you understand what they are, they will take their food from a live host, either on the surface of them or inside them, depending on where they are. Some will cause disease. So Bacillus anthracis will cause, is an example, and causes anthrax. So the way the SEC like to ask this question, they will ask you to distinguish between photosynthetic and chemosynthetic bacteria. So it's the first bullet point, and similarly, saprophyte, they might ask you name the two forms of heterotrophic nutrition by bacteria. So then they're looking for saprophytic bacteria and parasitic. So the last bit we're going to do is actually Form 6 stuff, but I'm putting it in here because technically they could ask you this, but it also kind of is an example of it, should you require it. So it comes from ecology that we'll do at the beginning of next year. Okay, so it is this definition of symbiosis. So there's always three sentences to these definitions. There's 4 of them in total, and they always start off the same way. So 2 organisms of different species living in close association, and to define symbiosis, at least one benefits. And then when we talk about that there's 3 types of symbiosis, parasitism is one. It's the third sentence changes. So how might you think I changed the third sentence to describe parasitism? So we still have 2
Only one benefit.
So yeah, but you now have to be specific, because when we're given the example, so in parasitism, what is being specific? So who benefits?
Parasite.
Parasite benefits. Is there anyone harmed?
The host.
The host is harmed. So when we go into the examples, we were now describing, there will always be at least one benefits, but you're telling them who it is. So this is your parasite is the thing that benefits, and your host is harmed. So we kind of go into detail in the third point. So symbiosis, this is like the overview. And then we have 3 types. Parasitism, we will do what's called mutualism. So that kind of does what it says in the tin. What do you think how would I write this line down here for mutualism, do you think?
Both benefit.
Both benefit, so that's straightforward. And the other one we do is it doesn't have a name that sounds like anything you've ever known. It's called commensalism. And essentially in that one benefits but the other isn't harmed. So you're describing the last line in when we do our definition. So we'll do these guys in Form 6, we won't worry about them now, but because we've just seen parasitic nutrition, we will put this definition in with it. So folks, that brings us to our conclusion for today.